Right. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you, Karen, behind the scenes. Thank you to all the practice leaders, as always, who hold the space when I'm away. And thank you to all of you, and particularly welcome to those of you who are new. This is a particular kind of space. Um, And I hope that you find some medicine here in this space. Again, this is the practice of medicine Buddha based in really the Kagyu school's tradition of medicine Buddha, as was taught to me and is being reinterpreted by me at the same time. Um, so we have just deep gratitude to not just medicine Buddha, of course, the medicine Buddha, but to the entourage of Medicine Buddha, to the entourages of all the great awakened beings who are here to help as well. And I always want to emphasize that it's not just Medicine Buddha. Sometimes we, even in life, we look at people, and we think that like, great people, notable people, and we say, oh, they're just self-arising, when in fact it's because of so many other beings who've made it possible. This is definitely the case for me. I wouldn't be here without the support of this community, of my team, as well, of advanced practitioners, of practice leaders, of everyone, so many people. Um, so I definitely depend on the kindness of everyone to be here. So I'm really grateful to be here with you all. I'm here on the traditional ancestral lands of the Creek, Muskogee, and Cherokee people. Also, I also consider this land my ancestors' land as well. And I am being deeply held by the land. And I also pray that you are acknowledging the lands that you are practicing on and being held on as well. Um, as I often say and teach, the practice is essentially remembering who and what we are, remembering that we're already liberated beings who have just forgotten. We just forgot, we got distracted, right? So our healing is just a journey back to telling the truth of who and what we are, right? And of course, in the practice of medicine Buddha, like any practice with any Buddha in the Buddhist Tantric tradition, it is about the embodiment recognizing, attuning, or reattuning to emptiness. Everything is just emptiness. This is just a play of light and shadow and perceptions and thoughts and energies and feelings and misunderstandings all swirling together that we have organized somehow into a reality that seems to always be at our detriment. Like, why can't we organize this to be, for our like pleasure, because that's not what happens here, right? I've actually been really looking into different traditions, and how they understand this reality for many years, actually, because I've been always interested in this. But I do appreciate, you don't necessarily get this slant in Tibetan Buddhism or in Buddhism in general, but like I do enjoy and appreciate this idea that that we come into this life to learn lessons, to develop wisdom, to get clear. And it's like a training ground coming into this situation, emanating into a body. It's the way our souls, right, evolve so that we can actually expand back into our true essence. And I really like that. I mean, I think similarly we say the same thing traditionally in Buddhism, um, just in a different way. This is the training ground to get free. You know, which in Buddhism is like, let's get the hell out of here as quickly as possible. That's really the thing in Buddhism. Yeah, it's a training, it's a workshop, but like, let's don't take your time. Well, like, let's just get through this. you know, it's like taking a standardized test, that you actually don't really understand. Let's just get through it. Let's just get through it. But this is definitely, we are here learning, right? We're here remembering, right? And every day there is material to practice with if you choose to pay attention, if you choose to say yes, right? There's so much happening, from the floods in Texas, to more wildfires actually springing up, in this part of the country, to continue genocide, right, in Palestine and Sudan, Haiti. I mean, it's just so much, right? And just on top of that, systemic collapse, right? Oh, I forgot about that. Um, like the systemic collapse of the United States, right? It's important that you just say that, like this is collapsing, right? And it's okay because I'm not, I am not collapsing. The system is collapsing. And when we self-identify with the system, that's when the suffering is at its most intense, you know? Like that's when it's most intense. Like I am falling apart. You're not, right? And to reframe it, I think maybe many of us are falling together for the first time, and that feels really disorienting. Like it does to me. I'll just say that. Like when shit starts coming together, and I get really off. I'm like, why is everything getting clear? What's going on, right? So I'm so used to disorder and mess, right? But as I've said before, and some of you are in this boat, like so many of us are just trained for the hardship. We just do hard stuff. That's who we are. That's what we do. We come from communities. We come from intersectionalities where all it is work. Just to be safe, just to have a little bit of happiness, just to have a few resources. It's just labor. And when it gets easier, then we feel disoriented. It's like, why am I not working so hard? Right. But this is a part of the blessing of practice. Is when you invest in practice at this level that we're working at, then things start happening. Right. And you don't have to work so hard sometimes. Right. Now, I'm saying this actually to myself. So, actually, I'm just inviting you to a personal teaching that I'm giving myself in the moment. But I'm sure someone can get a little bit out of this. Right. Um, but I think most of the time that I teach, I'm just teaching to myself. Not that like I don't see people and I'm not with people. It's just like I'm just like taking my own medicine. I'm just inviting people to watch and hear with me. And then you believe that I'm talking to you, which is even better, right? So it's a win-win situation for me, actually. I'm getting everything that I need, and you think you're getting what you need. Perfect, right? Perfect, right? But we are like, but really, I think some of us are really getting clear, and I think you have to be okay with that because that's the point. Right, you're getting clear, right? And maybe others aren't getting clear. Maybe there's a lot of people suffering, a lot of people struggling, and that's how it goes. This is samsara, right? Not all of us are ready for everything, right? There are people, again, if this is a training ground and a workshop, then maybe we're all at different places at this workshop. Some of us are ready to finish and graduate to something else. Some of us maybe are at the beginning, right? But regardless, we're helping each other. So we're all cheating on the standardized tests together, in a way. So we're holding all of this, right? And also want to uplift um, also Joanna Macy, as well as, for those of you who practice and who read Joanna Macy's work, she's in the transition process. She's in hospice right now. So any day now looks like she will be transitioning as well. So we're going to hold prayers for her as well, as many of us have been deeply influenced by her work. And some of you may study with her as well. So like just deep, deep care to her family, to her community, to the work that she's leaving behind. right? That has been so deeply impactful for many of us. Um, I never got a chance to meet her um, as well. So, but I've met many of her senior students, and as we often say in these circles, you don't judge, you judge a teacher by their students, right? You know, you judge a teacher by their students. I don't know what that means for me. I'm afraid to think deeply into that, to get critical about that reflection for me. But but I learn a lot about teachers by their students, you know. And so I've been deeply impressed by Joanna Macy's students, you know, so that means that her Dharma has been really powerful. Um, yeah, so let's get into the practice tonight. So we're gonna do we're gonna work with the water elements as we sometimes do, but I'm not gonna introduce any water into the end. So what we're doing is um it's hard to name the shit when it just drops into your mind like 15 minutes before you teach it. But like it's a flow. So we're using the energy of water, right, to flow, to move things, right? And we're going to be flowing essentially things in and out. Um, but we're going to start with flowing out. Um, and just to kind of preview it, because I don't think it's going to change, you know, but you know, there's precedent to to suggest otherwise. But right now, um, so the intentions of the practice is to start moving some energy that feels stuck. But we're not gonna be really aggressive with it. You know, it's gonna be a really gentle flow, and you'll see, right? Um, and you're gonna be flowing something to Medicine Buddha. And then the second part of the practice is Medicine Buddha flowing energy back to you. All right. Um, so it felt important to kind of offer that beforehand, but we'll see what happens in the practice, right? Um, okay, so let's begin. Let's begin. Um, well, there's something else I was gonna say. Mm, yeah, so this is another piece too. Um, around showing up to this moment, showing up to systemic collapse. We're also showing up to the brokenheartedness, to the grief, which we often talk about, right? So this practice is a resource to help us to continue to work with kind of the grief or the brokenheartedness that gets really intense for us. Having somewhere to direct this, right? So it doesn't just kind of build up and continue building up, right? So this release is, as we often understand with grief, is nonlinear. You know, so nonlinear practice, which is all of Tantra, is all nonlinear, right? You know, which means that like things are just happening and what's happening is rooted across multiple timelines, lifetimes, dimensions, you name it, you know? So when we open the gate to these kinds of practices, we're digging into the totality of all of our lived experience across lifetimes, right? So sometimes things don't make sense in the moment. Sometimes there's material that comes up and we go, where did this come from? Well, you may not remember it, but it's still a part of your experience, maybe from another, you know, workshop life, right? But it's still material that's still deeply embedded in our mind stream. right? And our like storehouse consciousness, which we've talked about in Blessed Slave before, right? So allowing there to be space for this material to rise and to flow, right? Um, and to be held, right, by Medicine Buddha. Okay, I think that's good. All right, and we'll do as usual our mantras and so forth. Right. So we'll begin. And again, let's begin just by finding your seat. Right, finding your seat, and wherever that seat is. So seat, the word seat here is really expansive, right? So what I'm really saying is touch your foundation. What's holding you? Be it a seat, a chair, a couch. You may be lying down. You may be standing up. You may be in movement, right? Um, Wherever you find yourself, just notice this experience of foundation, of stability, of earth. Noticing the weight of your body, the seat of the surface rising to hold you. And really, this can be a whole practice right here. Just noticing, grounding, experiencing, being held. I would suggest doing this as much as possible. Right? The groundedness, stability, when things are just really intense, where's the ground? Where's your seat? Where's the stability? Because what we're really talking about is the earth element here, the ground, the tethering, right? The tethering. We have to be tethered. No, there's got to be something that's holding us. And so we connect to the seeds as an expression of the earth. And we experience this holding, this tethering. We're being held, we're being tended to. And when you feel this kind of stability, then it's easier for us to open to really difficult kind of emotional, energetic experiences. And this is why when we transition back into the spirit world or the bardo, that's why it's so difficult to practice. Right? So beings, we come into this world for many reasons, mostly because we have karma and we can't help it. But we come back and the earth element is such a big part of our liberation work, of our remembrance work. Like we use the ground, we use the earth, we use the friction and the grip and the tethering to the earth element, the solidity, the density to do work. And it's really powerful, it's really effective, it's really impactful, right? But when we transition back into just consciousness or spirit, sometimes we don't know how to access that experience of foundation, of stability again, like we could as embodied beings, right? So it feels really disorienting. It feels it's yeah, it just feels sometimes impossible to feel grounded as a spirit. So this is why one of the reasons, people say that we come into this realm to do work, to evolve, because I think of the earth elements and many other things as well. So this is important. This is the the roots, really, the root of my teaching is the earth. Right? Not as this thing, but as an awakened, really an awakened presence, an awakened being, right? Who's here in service, right? Who's trying to help. And can we open to that in the same way our ancestors did? Maybe not like your ancestors from last century, but like far, far, far ancestors, right? Our early ancestors did. The importance of the earth, the importance of all the elements, but really right now, the earth. So the mother, or the earth arises as the mother, right? In this sacred duality, the sacred mother as the earth. And so when you're ready, we'll transition to our opening mantra, Om Minla Sange Kino Soha. Medicine Buddha, please think of me, please know me, please gaze upon me. Again, this mantra is to start inviting the consciousness, or start actually awakening the consciousness of Medicine Buddha in this space, as well as the consciousness of all of the retinue that accompanies Medicine Buddha. So again, Om, Nama Sange Kino Soha, beginning with an elongated Om, and then chanting the mantra 3 times, and then ending with an Om. And in this, we will be, yes, awakening, tuning into the consciousness of Medicine Buddha, but I want you to imagine that you're chanting this or singing this to the earth, to the land. That the energy of this mantra is, it's just radiating from your body, maybe from your throat and mouth, down into the land. Imagine that the land, the earth is being filled with the blessings of this mantra, feeling the gratitude that we're offering to the land as well in our recitation. And just sink into this. Right? And I want this to be kind of like the also the focus, or part of your goal for your practice is to relax, to sink into, to allow, to let things happen. I mean, to whatever's reasonably happening, but like just to like flow. Again, let's even switching a little bit to the element of water, the flow, right? The opening, the expansion. Right? Let the practice practice you instead of you practicing the practice. Switch that dynamic up and see what happens. Okay, so let's begin. We'll begin with Om. Om. Om Lazanye Ki No Om Razange Hi no So Om Razange Hi no So So again, resting, relaxing, grounding, flowing, just being here. Don't feel as if you need to do anything. Even as we start our main chanting, or as we move in deeper into the practice with our visualization work, don't feel like obligated. Right? Again, this natural flow. Like as we move now more into the water element work, like the flow, the rest, the water can be still, water can be in movement, water can be clear, water can be turbulent, right? But let's choose the stillness of water. It reminds me of the saying, still waters run deep. Still waters run deep. What does that mean for you? As I say that still waters run deep, deep, where are your still waters? Because still waters, if I think about this in terms of like land, still water run, these underground springs, right, are deep in the earth where we can't touch them often, humans. Imagine the stillness of that water, the clear water, the really pure water, right, that hasn't been touched by anything, by the pollution, by anything made by humans, that clear, still, cool, deep water. And calling the energy of that water into the practice. Because this is the labor here. Like this is actually the big part of the labor is the stillness, right? Like embodying, tuning into the stillness, right? Allowing the mind, right, to start slowing down with all of the thoughts and emotions, the analysis, the dreaming, the thinking, all of that begins to slow down, right? Because these still waters, the stillness is really just holding, right, our attention. It's like this, the waters are just anchors, or the water is an anchor, right? And we slowly began to experience that the stillness is really just an expression of our minds. It is how our minds are always arising, the stillness, the steadiness. I mean, this first stage of shamatha, our calm abiding meditation, our mindfulness, as we colloquially understand it, the stillness, this presence, this openness that just holds. Right? world can be busy, but my mind doesn't have to be so busy. And even now, we may be feeling, noticing certain experiences arriving. Some of them are pleasant, some of them aren't pleasant, and some of them are neutral, right? But you're just noticing. You're not reacting, but just noticing. Resting, grounding in the stillness, but allow it, whatever it is, to be there. Just a few more moments here. So let's continue. So from within the stillness, I invite you to call into the space all of your benefactors, both living and beyond, including plants, animal, people, all your benefactors, all the beings who love you, who want you to be safe and free and happy. Just say welcome. But on top of that, I want you to make a special effort to also call in the retinue of Medicine Buddha, all of these spirits, these deities that accompany Medicine Buddha, who fulfill the work of Medicine Buddha on Medicine Buddha's behalf. So calling in the spirits as well, the healing spirits, and just formally welcoming them into your space. And imagining that, like, all of these beings, all of these benefactors are just kind of gathering around you. I mean, we begin to feel the radiance of their deep care for us. So they begin to radiate care around us. And just feeling that the energy of their care as a very gentle kind of force, very gentle. And how that radiance is, it feels as if it's just kind of grounding us even more. It's stabilizing us. So feeling the energy of that, feeling the energy of the earth under us, feeling the energy of our own bodies as well. Settling into this this stabilizing experience. Just a few more moments here. So when you're ready, I invite you to shift your attention to your heart center. And if you would like, you can bring the palm of your hand up to your heart center, like feeling the stabilizing experience of your hand along your chest, on your chest, your heart center. Feeling the warmth of your heart center if you're doing this. And as we're focusing on our heart center, I invite you just to allow, if it's not already happening, but to allow just some of the more difficult energies to begin to kind of surface or awaken in the heart center, be it grief, be it anger, despair, hopelessness, confusion, whatever it is. You don't even have to think about this. Either even just disrupting or letting go of this resistance to how we're feeling is enough, right, to activate the heart center right now. And we remember that what we're feeling is felt by so many beings right now. So many beings like us who are struggling to have access to resources that we need, beings like us who are struggling to survive, who are facing just impossible circumstances. Beings like us who are angry, who are tired, beings who just are unsure about what the next day is going to bring. We are like all beings. We don't want to suffer and we want to be happy. And from this experience, we awaken real compassion, which is the wish for every being, all beings, everywhere, to be free from suffering. That all beings remember what they are. And as we awaken that aspiration, that wish, we can begin to imagine that Medicine Buddha begins to appear right in front of us. And Medicine Buddha is arising in any form that feels appropriate for us right now in this moment. Be it as their iconic representation as a Buddha, a blue Buddha on a lotus seat, or just any representation or embodiment of what we consider the archetypal healer for us. And this last piece is important because maybe the figure that arises for us is actually just an expression of one of Medicine Buddha's retinue. Maybe you're seeing that being in their most authentic form, not just as a expression of the traditional iconography of Medicine Buddha, but as themselves as they appear around Medicine Buddha. And we don't have to see anything, we don't have to feel anything necessarily. That's really not the point. But it's just to awaken this confidence, this trust that these beings are with us. So we'll continue as we begin to turn our attention to our main mantra. We first call on the element of water, sacred waters. And we feel the element of water beginning to strengthen in our heart center. And slowly, we can begin to imagine that the element of water begins to flow out from our heart centers, holding and carrying all of these energies that we've surfaced, everything that we're struggling with, that the element of water in this really energetic form begins to flow these energies out of our heart centers directly into the heart center of the Medicine Buddha or healer that's appeared in front of us. And as this energy flows into their heart center, we know and understand that this energy is just flowing directly back into emptiness. So allowing the energy of water to lift and to move this energy out of our bodies and offering it into the empty brilliance energy body of the Medicine Buddha and the healer in front of us. We just continue to imagine this flow being held by the earth, grounded in the stillness, being anchored by the radiance of all of our benefactors holding us. Just letting this flow as an offering to the Medicine Buddha and the healer in front of us. So we turn our attention to the mantra now. Again, you can chant along or you can just sit and listen, but just relaxing, opening, just being, right? And letting the practice you. So Tea Taum Bacon say Ma Bacon say Razu Sumungate Soha like this. I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the root of pain and suffering. And I release the energy of this prayer out to the world so that we all may be liberated, so that we all may be healed, so that we all may remember. We begin. O 대양다운 백은세 마백은세 라스수문같이 소하 대양다운 백은세 마백은세 라스수문같이 소하 대양다운 백은세 마백은세 라스수문가래소아 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 대양다운 백은세 마비근세 라즈 수문가체 수아 제야다 옴베근세 베근세 마비근세 라즈 수문가체 수아 제야다 옴베근세 베근세 마비근세 라즈 수문가체 수아 대하다 온배근세 배근세 마배근세 라스 수문간에서와 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 대하다 온배근세 배근세 마배근세 Raza Sumangare Suha Jayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Raza Sumangate Suha Jayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Raza Sumangare Suha Jayada Beganze Beganze Ma Beganze Raza Sumangate 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 Suha. Just staying where you are, I'm just turning my attention to the prayer requests, and again we call into the space all of the beings, all of our benefactors, all the beings who love us, who want us to be free. All the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and all the rest. We offer these prayers to you, and we pray that you work on our behalf to bring about the fruition of these prayers, as you also empower us and resource us to also work to bring about the fruition of these prayers as well. And I began by offering prayers just to our teacher and elder, Joanna Macy, who is in the transition process, entering back into the bardo and the spirit world. We pray for her and all beings who are right now beginning their transition, that they have all the resources, everything that they need, that the ancestors meet them at the transition, that all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas are there to hold them in this process, and all of the deities of their ancestors as well, all the spirits are present for all beings in this moment as they transition into the spirit world, that may they attain enlightenment as quickly as possible. We continue to offer prayers, offering prayers for my sister who is just now working through incest and abuse that occurred 50 years ago, prayers that she gets what she needs to heal, prayers for our family as we collectively heal, offering prayers for myself, my health, as new symptoms have arisen. May this body keep on trucking for the benefit of all. May I use what I've learned to help those around me, offering prayers for the souls of Jesus Ramos, along with the two of his brothers who died in horrific fireworks or a house explosion in Yolo County last week. One has a new baby on the way. Prayers for the whole family as well. Prayers for Father M, who that he is happy and does wonderful work in his new assignment. Prayers for Ara that her appetite and agency increase, and that I am shown the best way to accelerate her agency and engagement. Gratitude for this very special song, for all my beloveds, for my family. May all of them be well supported and receive much grace. Offering prayers that I ride the waves and maintain faith. Prayers that my case studies finish smoothly this week and that I land a well-paying job soon. Prayers for clarity and courage for the next steps in my life. Prayers that I am energetically able to complete the work I began to rent out rooms. There's so much grief in that part of the house. I have trouble entering. Offering prayers for the soul of David Lee Carson Sr., who recently entered the Bardo. Prayers of the beautiful people holding it down at Tassajara Zen Mountain Monastery. Prayers for Michael Dinwiddie, who transitioned on Friday, July 4th. Offering prayers for Nadia, facing deportation after 20 years of excellent community work. May her paperwork be in order and case come to her during this hard time, and ease come to her during this hard time. Offering prayers for Alexander, who is suffering with physical illness as well as much emotional pain. May he find the support and love he so deserves. Offering prayers for Z, whose compassion, wisdom, and non-judgment inspires me daily. Offering prayers for my sister Kate, who is put in a mental health hole and has been separated from her kids. May she and her family get all the support they need for their highest, best outcome and resolution. Offering prayers for Jahani, who is fighting for her partner not to be deported, and for prayers for our whole community as we learn how to practice solidarity. Offering prayers of support for Jay and Jay on their sudden and unsolved career transitions. Prayers for Rita as she seeks her career path that supports her and her family and allows her to use her talents and ambitions. Prayers of gratitude to Medicine Buddha and all my guides for helping me to get free and keep me safe. Offering prayers for continued full and complete safety and protection against all negative energies and entities. Prayers of safety and protection for all my beloved seen and unseen. Prayers for my next steps in manifesting abundance of long-term financial self-sufficiency after retiring from my no longer aligned workplace, and for those I support who will need to find alternative support. Prayers for all affected by the storm's flooding systemic and effectiveness of following the recent tropical storm transitioning through the southern U.S., offering prayers for Bill Hanavan as he undergoes chemotherapy for a brain tumor. Prayers for me to find a new framework to approach a time period where I'm struggling more than I expected I would and get whatever I'm supposed to get out of it. Prayers for my parents grieving their beloved dog. Prayers that baby Amelia continues to grow and be healthy. Offering prayers for the spreading of Dharma of Teakasan, Ghost Horse, and for his well-being as he ended his 32-year-long radio program yesterday. Offering prayers for DJ, Andy, and Kara. May they get free. May I be the medicine. Offering prayers for DG and so many others who are learning how to live with cancer. Prayers for the safety and health of my beloved Coco and the baby growing in her womb. Prayers for my brother Noam. May he find true happiness and freedom from suffering. Prayers for peace on earth and especially in the war-torn land of Israel and Palestine. Prayers that I do the work in balance with taking breaks in the heat of for my health. Prayers for deep connection to Balagomuki Ma. Prayers for all systemic collapse and the end of carcerality. Prayers for Lama Rod to get free now. Prayers for the community to tend to one another as we work to get free. Prayers for all beings in all realms and timelines to be free. ASAP, Asheo. Prayers for my parents and my partner and myself as we deal with some transitions and as I deal with health and related issues. Prayers for my upcoming travels that I stay safe, healthy, rested, and protected, especially as multiple marginalized BIPOC immigrant, as a multiply marginalized BIPOC immigrant. Offering prayers to my partner who gives so much care and unconditional love, and they also receive it in abundance. Prayers for my job search for a stable and sustainable enough remote workplace, as I'll be losing my Medicaid and food stamps due to this white supremacist colonial empire of the U.S. government. Prayers for Heidi and Nacho, who were violently abducted by ICE. May they be free. Prayers for the people in the land of Palestine. Prayers for me to show up in the fullness of my death work, my heartbreak, and to continue to kiss the earth. Prayers for health and well-being for myself and others feeling uncertain and destabilized in this crazy world today and every day. Prayers for my upcoming travels. May my visit with Zoe be filled with laughter and love and joy. Um, and Judith, Melissa, Kay, and Joy. Prayers for those fighting for survival through genocide. Prayers for the earth of Gaza and the Palestinian people. May healing be found in the generations to come. Prayers for Shara. May she be freed of cancer and may her body and spirit find healing. Prayers for my health and healing. Prayers for Tiffany and her girls. Prayers for Nikki and all those experiencing the bitter pain of unfolding generational trauma. Prayers for Israel's targeted killing of beloved Dr. Marwan al-Sultan and his family after receiving repeated anonymous phone calls. Al-Sultan and 4 members of his family were killed in an Israeli airstrike. Prayers for myself and all of us trying to hold with some love, grace, and sanity the ever-increasing horrors coming across our emails and news streams, such as the one above. Prayers for Ricky Joyner, who joined the ECU hospital today to begin 5 weeks of chemo and radiation after surgery for a malignant brain tumor 3 weeks ago. Prayers for his wife, Diane, and their children, for me in holding my sadness as I love him very much. Prayers for Blakely and her worsening health issues. Prayers that she be able to eat enough to take care of her precious body. Prayers for my mother, father, and sister, my son, and extended family. May they be held in love and have good health. May all teachers have long lives. May all who are sick and suffering or in need of any kind have what they need: food, shelter, clean water, safety, love, and support. May all being in rest and love and care. May the world awaken to peace. May all world leaders awaken and work together in harmony. Prayers for protection for my upcoming trip to do some ancestral healing work and discernment about life path. Prayers for the healers offering this medicine who have stewarded and related to these plants and land over time. May I tune to what needs to be experienced, and may I keep an open heart, and may I remember. Prayers for our broken heart to continue healing and expanding to connect with all broken, open hearts. Prayers of deep gratitude and ongoing protection for Lama Rod, Owens, his team, and for Rachel Wooten and her team. Prayers for Harriet during this difficult transition, and for Sarah, Henry, and SP supporting her. Prayers for S's beloved feline for health and longevity. Prayers for M for the desire to learn and change, to become aware, and to grieve and stay tender-hearted. Prayers for my mom to know I'm with her. Prayers for my siblings. Prayers for the boy I saw this morning collecting cans, that he and his loved ones have all they need. Prayers for M and P for enduring good health. Prayers for all experiencing loss and loneliness, that they know the love of the elements and all the more than human beings surrounding them. Prayers for J and A for abundance and spaciousness to rest and heal, and all resources needed to support the relocation out east. Prayers for paid work, and that more fully reflects and integrates my work and ethic of love. Prayers for H for continued sweetness, openness, and tenderness as he moves in his new phase of life. Prayers for Pauline and Jules and Maureen. Prayers for Luke and myself, that we may find appropriate housing where we can feel safe and joyful and fulfilled. Ashe. Prayers for my mother's health, healing, and housing. Prayers for M and R. May they be rescued, resourced, and healed and free. Prayers and gratitude for all those in the Sangha. Prayers for continued assistance, for guidance, strength, and courage, and all things I need in navigating my relationship with my husband. Medicine Buddha, please help the Extinction Rebellion movement and climate resilience so we can heal the earth, heal life on this planet, heal each other, and keep this sacred planet for our descendants. Medicine Buddha, please protect me at my job and help me keep the resources that I need. Medicine Buddha, please keep our Sangha safe, abundant, nourished, and auspicious conditions to practice Dharma and help heal the world. Medicine Buddha, please heal the greed, the ignorance, and the hate that has led to this collapse. Please protect the most vulnerable and the targeted. Prayers for Jamie during their gender-affirming surgery and recovery. Prayers for all those in the Bardo and the Hungry Ghost realm, hell realms, and all samsaric places. Prayers for support, protection, and flourishing for our teachers, including Lama Rod, Eli, Rachel, and all teachers who connect to our Sangha and carry wisdom traditions forward. Prayers for all those targeted by fascism. Prayer for the beginning of this new relationship and new me. that they may serve our liberation and liberation of all beings. And prayers to help ICE agents and their supporters wake the fuck up from their hate and ignorance. Heal the hatred, ignorance, and greed in their hearts, and heal all the humanizing forces. Medicine Buddha, may we all get clear. I continue also to offer prayers for my aunt who is still recovering from a severe stroke. Offer prayers for the protection of Khalil and for the longevity of my mother and father. And we continue to pray for the complete abolition of all systems of harm and violence, that all beings one day, as quickly as possible, have access to all the resources that they need to be safe and well and healed. May we continue to practice together to remember what we are, and may we all become Buddhas as quickly as possible as we remember what we already are. May all of these aspirations, these hopes, these prayers, these needs come to fruition as quickly as possible. We offer these prayers to our sources of refuge, that you may continue to work on our behalf, and may we also be granted clear vision and insight into how we may continue to help to bring about the fruition of these prayers. So we turn our attention now back to our practice, to our mantra, and we're just going to go maybe another 10 minutes. We're almost a little at time. And in this last part of our mantra, for the next couple of minutes, we will begin to imagine that the healer, the medicine Buddha in front of us, actually begins to flow the energy of healing, of clarity, of joy, of stability. Whatever you need right now, imagine that that being in front of you begins to radiate, to flow that energy from their heart center into our heart center, beginning to really feel this experience of being resourced and filled and awakened, to take as much as we possibly can in this practice, to sustain us as we continue to bring about a more peaceful, harmonious world. So we begin again. O te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te suha. Te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te suha. Te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te suha. Te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te suha. Te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te suha. Te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te suha. Te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te suha. Te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te suha. Te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te suha. Te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te suha. Te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te suha. Te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te suha. Te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te suha. Te a umbegenze, begenze, ma begenze, ras sumunga te Zoa, Deyada Umbeganze, Beganze, Ma Beganze, Rasa Sumungare 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 Zoa, Deyada Umbeganze, Beganze, Ma Beganze, raza sumanga zoa. Deyara one beganze ma beganze raza sumanga zoa. Deyara one beganze ma beganze raza sumanga zoa. Deyara one beganze ma beganze raza sumanga zoa. Deyanta beganze mahabeganze raza sumungate soa. Deyanta beganze mahabeganze raza sumungate soa. Deyanta beganze mahabeganze raza sumungate so. So turning our attention back to the medicine Buddha, the healer in front of us, we thank them for holding us in this practice, for offering their medicine, and for accepting what we struggle to hold for ourselves. They accept this gratitude and is pleased. And in that pleasure of being pleased, they radiate this warm white light in which their bodies, their forms dissolve into. And all that light is absorbed into our heart center. For the blessings of Medicine Buddha and the retinue of Medicine Buddha will abide with us for the rest of this life and will be available for us in practice anytime that we need it. We turn our attention now to our retinue, our benefactors around us. We thank them for holding us in our practice. They accept this gratitude, and in their pleasure dissolve into white light. And that white light is also deeply absorbed into our heart centers. And again, we touch the earth, the seeds, feeling the tethering of the earth. We connect to the experience of stillness, these deep waters, which is just an expression of our minds, our awakened minds. And we imagine just for a few moments that our bodies, our beings begins to dissolve into this experience of stillness. We find ourselves resting, still, and grounded and tethered, opening fully, but resting and just simply being, without distraction. And so when you're ready, Again, noticing the seat, the weight of your body, and allowing your body just to come back into full focus. The density of your body, the breath, wherever feels appropriate to notice, allowing it to come back into this moment. Beginning to slowly reawaken your body through simple movement, a few deep cleansing breaths. And we turn our attention to Shantideva's prayer in the chat from the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, which I think after Blessed Slay, maybe we will be reading that text together after Jewel Ornament, if ever we could get through Jewel Ornament in this lifetime. It'll happen, don't worry, it'll happen. So we're going to recite this 3 times, okay? May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for all those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. All right, that concludes our program for this evening. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to our sponsors for sponsoring this, if we had sponsors. So love and rage. How can I develop? Yeah, this reminds me of this a conversation that I had with a very dear sister and friend of mine named Nova Reed in the UK, who's this really amazing, anti-racism trainer worker, and we do a lot of work together as well. And this is something that we're always talking about, like how do you practice when you're on the front lines of organizing, activism, of caretaking, right? And this is when we have to practice on the go. Like we're grieving on the go. Like we're healing on the go. Having time and space to practice. Yeah, it does. Sometimes it feels like a luxury, you know. But if we don't have that space, then the moment is when we have to do it in the moment of caretaking, in the moment of struggle, bringing awareness, attention to what's happening, finding the earth in the moment, right? Finding the earth, finding the weight of the body, remembering your benefactors and your entourage, remembering, the deities whom you feel close to as you're in the process of you're calling in these resources, and noticing all of this. And this is how we practice in the moment, finding the earth, connecting to the earth in the very same way that we've done in our practice today is something that I think has to be done as much as possible throughout the day, especially in moments where we are feeling really overwhelmed, where we're being asked to do something, or where we're just getting just bad news. We're being impacted in the moment with worry, anxiety, like we find the earth, right? That's always the first thing. We find the earth, right? And we find our breath. If we're working with the breath, we call in our resources. We remember that we're not alone, that we are amongst countless beings in this moment who are experiencing the same thing that we're experiencing, right? Not just on this planet, in this world system, but across multiple world systems. Right. There are countless beings who are going through the same thing, and that takes the pressure of this intense isolation and individualism. It kind of like cuts through that, right? And there's more space, right? And in that space, we have resources to make decisions, to respond, right? And maybe in that space, we will actually find a few minutes to actually just like step away from a situation and to find deeper practice, right? Because that's also possible. We don't always have an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, however long you practice, to do that every day. Sometimes it's like a minute here, 30 seconds there, 5 minutes, maybe a couple of minutes before we go to sleep, a couple of minutes before we wake up, right? But maybe the rest of it is practicing in the moment, right? And this is what we hold. And we're all not just dealing with our own situations, we are doing collective work, right? So some of us, we're fine. Like we have a practice to deal like with everything that we're experiencing, but we're being called to take on more labor for the collective. We're taking on labor from people who actually don't have the capacity to practice, who don't want to practice, who aren't interested in freedom. We have to take all of that on as well. So you're feeling that. Now, it's not just you and your situation, it's the collective situation. This is the risk of developing an open heart, right? This is the dilemma of bodhicitta, right? Is the labor, is the burden, the feel the intense connection to the heaviness of everyone. That's the burden, right? It's not yours, but it's ours, right? For me, that reflection has been extremely helpful right now. When it's been hard for me to manage, I say, but no, this is what I'm doing for the collective. And I came here to do this. And many of you did. If you're alive, embodied, and practicing right now, you chose to be here because that is not a coincidence. That is not ironic that all of these things line up. You chose this. You made this happen. You and your entourage and benefactors are making this happen. So there's a moment of rejoice here, right? Because as we transition out of this life at some point, as we transition back to consciousness or back to spirit, right? Like you will celebrate. You will be extremely grateful for all the moments you showed up and said yes. All the moments you struggled with this instead of giving up, right? All the ways in which you helped instead of ignoring. All the ways you struggle to develop empathy and compassion. These will be experiences that will like guide and actually in a way lubricates your transition from this life into the next, because without empathy it's a rough ride back back out of this form, right? So I know it's hard right now. I mean, it may well get harder, right? But you have so many resources, right? And you're not even using them all. I know you're not using them all. So keep asking, right? Keep asking. Just put the question out there. This is what I need. Please help me. Please support me. Please guide me. Please show me. And the medicines will arrive. The medicines will appear. That's the nature of this. When you ask for the medicine, it will appear. But it's not going to come in the form that you think it is. Also, just be aware. You know, quite often you're going to be saying, is this how it's going to go down? Is this how the medicine is coming? Yeah, it's just like and you just deal with it. At least you're getting it, right? So let go of all of these expectations about what the medicine looks like, right? Because you'll know it when you get it. You may not be happy with it, but it'll be for you, right? So thank you all. Yeah, today is a gate, 7-7 gate, celestial. Yeah, I forget people call it different things, but it's like a gate, an auspicious gate today, where our aspirations can be really powerful if we make them, and we made them. So if you've been in practice, we've done it. So don't feel anxious. Like, we put a lot of energy out into the world collectively. This is why we do this. Collective practice is the most powerful form of practice, especially on days like this. So we've done a lot of good work. And I pray that the protection of Medicine Buddha, all the Buddhas, and all the Buddha's entourages stay with you and guide you through this week until we meet again. May it be so. Thank you, everyone.